So in front of the goal, and I had a bigger guy, probably 250 pounds, fall on my stick and on my arms, and my right bicep blew. So within the span of a 2-year period, for both of those biceps, had the exact same brace. I have matching braces at home that I keep just for memories, and went through the same rehab. And that's where I'd actually planned on at least dieting and seeing kind of what I could get down to, is when I first tore my bicep, and I was in a brace for probably just shy of 7 or 8 months. They reattach the tendon and get it back to its flexibility, and you literally go back to lifting 2-pound dumbbells. Like it is humbling. You're in a cast very short period of time, 2 weeks, but when that cast comes off, you are shriveled. It looks like a wrist that you have up here in your bicep. I was set on not saying I'm done competing. I'm just not competing right now. I didn't know how to get into shape other than bodybuilding. And I thought, well, geez, local around here, because he wasn't in Windsor at the time, he was down closer to Toronto, was Fouad Abiad. And I contacted him, and we put together a strategy, a plan to drop all kinds of weight, just like we would for a bodybuilding show, but not to do a bodybuilding show. It was only to get me in shape for this surgery. But the closer and closer that we got to it, he kind of motivated. He's like, are you sure we're just doing this so that you can go under the knife and then get this eyesore fixed? And I was like, yeah, I think that's what it is. He goes, another 10 pounds and like you're stage ready, buddy. So eventually he convinced me to do it.
You studied kinesiology at university.
I did.
Blended science with the real world of muscle. Has competed and won at a professional level in the IFBB 212 division. Correct me if I'm wrong. Competed with gratitude as a natural bodybuilder and longevity into his 50s. Built more than muscle. He's built resilience through life's hardest moments. Left the stage and life paused, only to return stronger, sharper, and more intentional. Believes strength is patience, integrity, consistency, not flash and shortcuts. His story will make you rethink the disciplines you need to really build. Fell in love with bodybuilding without even chasing the extremes or the dreams of it. Used training as an anchor through grief, trauma, and loss. You stepped away from the stage for about a decade to build a real life. I mean, really? Faced career-defining injuries and forced humility and reinvention. Returned to the bodybuilding later to finish off unfinished business. His story will make you rethink the disciplines. IFBB pro bodybuilder who lives with the motto, whatever it takes. Please help me welcome, it's Peter Boncardo.
You got it. Yes. Even with a little Italian inflection at the end. So Boncardo.
Boncardo. Yes. No, I can do it because I'm Greek. I've got Greek background, so I should be able to roll my words.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect. Father's side was Italian and my mother's side was Irish. So that's why I kind of still have the pale skin, I guess. Carry more from my mother's side, but Boncardo itself, if you break it down, is good-hearted.
Good-hearted. Boncardo.
Yeah, Boncardo.
Boncardo. Why am I saying it like an Aussie? Boncardo, mate. Boncardo. It's Boncardo.
I've got a feeling that I may have that little bit of inflection in my voice tomorrow.
Yes.
It's a great... I don't know if we would call it even an accent. The Australian speech to me is always upbeat and kind of joyful. It makes you kind of happy no matter what it is you're talking about. So I really, really appreciate being able to chat with you. Morning there or mid-afternoon for you there, and later night here is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is.
My mother spent a little bit of time in Australia.
Yeah, whereabouts? Whereabouts?
Well, close to 3 years. She was a nurse, emergency room nurse in the Greater Toronto area, we'll call it. So Ontario is one of our big provinces, and she, in her late 20s, early 30s, got together with a group of girls that wanted to tour. They were big travelers. So they took I think it was a 2-week cruise that took them to Australia.
Yep.
And I think hit all of the big cities. I know she was in Melbourne for a bit. So they worked in large hospitals, but then also had an opportunity to work in the outback, Aborigines and everything like that. So she said it was quite an experience. And without the advent of cell phones and, just snapping as many photos as you can, she still took quite a few. And I've got those with me. They're keepsakes for me, obviously, to have photos of my mom prior to having kids or even prior to being married and everything like that. So kind of a free spirit. And settled down long enough with my dad to have a family, my brother and I.
Well, I know that, I mean, even so now, but there was a period we seemed to have this kind of exchange program. It wasn't a true exchange program, let's not say, but we had a lot of Irish, English, Scottish used to come to Australia in the 80s and 90s. It was really prominent.
Oh, wow.
And the reason they'd come to Australia was for our weather. They couldn't believe that winter time seemed summer to them here. Like it just
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is the Aussies here would travel to England, Ireland, and Scotland. And somehow work in the pubs there or do whatever they were doing over there. So it was quite funny how, and people would go and live in London for about a year or a couple of years. So it was very much like an exchange program. No one was running the rules here. No one had a plan, but everyone was kind of, I'll go over there and you'll come over here. And I mean, now we get a big influx of South Americans. We've got a big influx of South Americans. We still get a lot of POMs. We still got a lot of POMs that are coming over here because, like I said, and then they all kind of work. Predominantly, they all work on the coast because that's what we've got. We're predominantly we're a big island, huge island, but we're predominantly everyone congregates around the coast. So we still get the POMs. We still get the Irish. We still get a whole bundle of tourists here, and they seem. And if I told you, like, if I go to Bondi Beach, you've heard of Bondi.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So we've got a few beaches. We've got, I'll tell you, we've got Bondi and we've got, you probably heard this as well, Coogee. We've got both
of those.
Yeah. So if I told you foreigners have taken over. So if you go there, it's more like South Americans and English and Americans and you name it. The world congregates around there. And so, it's predominantly a tourist capital, and they've claimed it. So, hey guys, Steve here. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. You know the drill. We'd love you to subscribe. We'd love you to hit the notification bell. Why? It gets us out there, allows us to go and get bigger, better, greater. We've already had some great guests, as you know, but we want to continue this. We want to continue this journey with you. So if you could, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified each time we put up a new podcast. Thank you for allowing me to take you away from the podcast. Let's get back to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It would be a destination that I would love to do, and probably retirement or something like that. I'm not a huge traveler, but there's a few spots that I'd like to visit, and Australia being one because my mom spent some time there, and then probably both of kind of my heritage, Ireland that I've never been to, and Italy. I've been in Europe to Paris when I was younger, and that was a fun trip. But as a teen, it's different. You go as an adult, there's probably different sights that you'll see. We just wanted to party while we were there, and it was a great city. But both the coast of Italy, where on the north side there's actually a hotel Boncardo. So I would hope to maybe even contact them there and see whether or not there's some family discounts.
So you are first generation. I'm assuming your dad settled in Canada from Italy, and then you're first generation, correct? Just like myself.
Yeah. Well, so my father was born here in Canada. His parents, though, settled. Both mother and father, both from Italy, and came and settled. So probably. So my father was born in the middle 1930s. So you're talking right around 1900. Coming to Toronto when Toronto was a big city for Canada, but much smaller than it's grown to now. Much more urbanized, that's for sure. It's our city is the same as or population wise and size wise as Chicago in the United States. So it's a fair size.
And so your dad was born here, born in.
Yeah.
All right. So you're second generation then. You're
second generation on both halves.
Can you talk Italian?
I can't. No.
Do you wish you could?
I think it would be interesting if I were to go to Italy to be able to speak the language, but it wasn't as though it was spoken a lot in my dad's household. And then when I was growing up, English was just it was what we spoke, as well as the fact that there's francophones here. So we speak a little bit of French as well, having Quebec as one of our provinces here in Canada too.
Oh, so you speak French? Can you speak French?
I wouldn't say fluent, but there's certainly hockey's our game, and our my favorite team is from Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Yeah.
So I listen to hockey games in French at times, and I can understand what's going on. And if somebody were to speak, like even on my job, if there's translations that are needed to be done, there's times where I can jump in, but I wouldn't say that I can speak it very fluently. Keeping in mind too that there's a difference between the kind of it's broken French in Quebec versus what they'd actually speak in France proper itself too.
Okay. And so since your dad Italian and your mum Irish and a nurse, she was nursing him in hospital, is that right? And that's where she caught her eye. I don't know, whatever. He saw her and said basically she's the one.
Love at first sight, I guess you could call it. Yeah. My mom was the consummate nurse, like whether she was at work helping people or at home. She was kind of the traditional marriage. She was making sure that everybody was taken care of, everybody was healthy, they were fed. She was the one to read us bedtime stories and everything like that. But yeah, so the story, I suppose, with my father is he got injured in a workplace accident, was in the hospital. Being an athlete himself, wanted out immediately. I got a hockey game tonight. And no, this is a pretty serious injury. You have a collapsed lung and you have broken ribs and your shoulders out. Like, you're going to be here for a little while.
How did he do it again? Can you tell everyone how that happened?
Yeah. So he was working construction, and they have an excavator basically that's digging into the ground. And certainly there's probably, I would say, more safety precautions in place right now. But he basically had two of the prongs that in turning around, he was in the way. Somebody gave the go ahead while he was in a dangerous spot, and it hit him and literally picked him up off the ground for a little while, punctured a lung. They were able to get him down, and obviously he's bleeding, and they take him to the hospital and stitch him up and do what they need to do. But as it turns out, and this is life is funny how it leads you, is my mother turned out to be his hospital nurse. Yep. Obviously, they come in and serving a lot of people in the ward. And my dad looked up to the charge nurse and he said, "What's the name of that young lady who keeps coming in and helping me out?" She said, "Well, that's Sheila. Why do you need to know that?" He said, "Well, because that's the woman I'm going to marry."
Wow.
And he got out of the hospital and they dated for a little while and hit it off with each other and got married. And then 2 years later was me as their firstborn. And then my brother about a year and a half later. Wow. So 2 kids. This was all fairly late in life too, compared to, I think, others.
Tell us about 40. That. Yeah. Your dad was 40.
Yeah, 40 when he had me. My mother was 35. I think back when traditionally people were getting married and having kids in their early 20s, right? And kind of figuring things out as they went. As I said, my mother was a traveler and she had lots of girlfriends. So she did the Australia trip, was shortly before she came back. And my dad was an athlete. I can even remember to this day him saying to me,
tell us about
that there's plenty of time to work, but if all you do is work and you don't do the things that are fun in life or that you enjoy or that are your passions, then what good is it? And he gave me the example of a job that he was offered about probably an hour and a half away from where he was centered playing baseball and stuff like that. And he turned down that job, which would have been a great career move and would have been good for money. He said, "Yeah, but I wouldn't be able to play baseball any longer."
Right.
And he was playing at that point at a fairly high level. That injury that he had certainly took away a little bit from his play in that. But yeah, he played sports well into his 50s, as I'm getting in my 50s doing bodybuilding. And then golf became his main focus. Golf is what in the end, my father passes away on a golf course, but golf is what he did for the last 20 years of life. Wow. Focused everything he could into it and was very, very good. A hole-in-one is a rarity in the sport of golf. He had 10 of them. He's in one of our large papers here, the Toronto Star. He has his hands open like this with a golf ball between each of those hands to signify 10 hole-in-ones that he got through a career. But people that know him well were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you only got 10," because he would literally play 6 different shots from a tee trying to get consistency. So almost like I look at it like hockey, where a player's trying to shoot a puck in the top corner each and every time. Yeah, my dad would hit a drive down the middle of the fairway and try and get them to within a small area to know that his accuracy was on. So he wouldn't rest until he got that perfection down. So he certainly had that kind of a flair for it, and whatever activity or whatever sport he put that towards, he made sure that he did everything that he could to make himself the best that he was. So that was very, very good and very influential to grow up around. That's for sure.
Did you? Yeah, I guess obviously he loved his sport and he was quite natural sports kind of person that assimilated well into the sporting. What do you think it is about those people that love sports so much? Is it the camaraderie? Is it the competitive? What is it? Because there is something about people that just can't walk away from sport. Like, there's people that continue, they play soccer, but they've got to then play weekend soccer. They might go do indoor soccer, futsal, they'll go do futsal. Then there's cricket people, and then they go indoor cricket. Then we have a game called rugby league or rugby union, and then they go play, and then they go play touch football on the weekends. Or what was it about you? What do you think what is it about these people? Could you give us an idea as having a dad, and also how did that play into you being competitive, or were you competitive? Did you understand it?
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody's an individual, but the majority of them, I think they like a number of those different facets. Like you said, the camaraderie of team sports at times. Definitely the rush that you get out of it. I think most athletes are thrill seekers, and you get those highs and lows, whether it's losses that make you feel down in the dumps, or the highs and the lows, the victories that then have your adrenaline pumping. I think it's in like the sports I played were hockey and baseball for the most part, tennis a little bit. With both of those, with hockey and baseball, there's such ebbs and flows to the game. Like here in Canada, we have the Toronto Blue Jays, who won a couple World Series 30 years ago when I was a kid, when I was finishing high school. And I remember being excited just watching that happen and for our city to win 2 in a row. Well, we just got back to the World Series and unfortunately lost this year. But it's exciting to be in that feeling. And as a player, I think you just crave that. It's actually a little, I don't know if you consider it sad or not, because the person's lived through it, but you see some athletes like even Usain Bolt now, the greatest sprinter to ever, be on a track. I've seen now has a bit of a pot belly.
Really?
And is talking about, he's out of shape for a sprinter for sure. And there's been interviews where he says he's just kind of lost unless it's at the highest level, he can't bring himself to train or compete. So I've heard things where he may do another shot at the Summer Olympics, or at least train as though he's going to do that. In bodybuilding, we have that all the time. People that just can't hang it up. And I don't necessarily think that's bad. Like it's something that's in them. And if they can't replace it with something else, then that sport always kind of sits in the background and is a highlight to them. And specifically, even about me, you spoke in the introduction about taking a step away it was a decade, I think even a little longer, 14 years from competing. I always trained. I was always in the gym. I'd still be lifting and everything up, but I wasn't focused on diet. So the regimentation of it was kind of gone. I still enjoyed being in the gym and challenging myself and, getting stronger and seeing some of those gains. But in the back of my mind was the thrill of, I really, really liked the competition, yes, but maybe even more so the process in this particular sport. The process is a little different because it's not like we're playing day in and day out. You could say you're going to the gym and you're trying to make progress and everything, but it's not like a league where you're playing 150 games in a year and you have an opportunity for wins and losses and to get your record. Bodybuilding is quite a unique sport in that sense where, man, every little detail means so much. And on the day of the show, if you mess something up, you've got a long, long time to think about it. I guess the Olympics are like that. Sprinting could be like that. If you falter coming out of the blocks, or worse yet, false starts. I've seen 2 false starts and you're out of the Olympics, 4 years down the drain, all the training, the sweating, the sacrifice, all of that. But yeah, you're completely right. There's something within sport and competition, whether it's individual sports like bodybuilding and that sort of thing, or team sports, where there is something that people that don't play them are missing out on.
I think sometimes it's I think to be doing anything, even at a high level or even bodybuilding, it's such a a lonely place. And if you don't have a certain discipline going there and doing it, like you can turn up to a competition and, you've done pretty much a whole off season and then prepping up for a show to spend under a minute on stage. I don't want to say 5 minutes. Literally, it's under a minute.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it's all about that one day. And so I guess like Usain Bolt and everybody, what makes them great is the practice, is the disciplines. And it's true, when I look at some amazing bodybuilders, sometimes you go, they don't look as amazing anymore. I mean, we all age, but that shouldn't be our excuse. And even Usain Bolt having a belly, he's then become normal, and he's not supposed to be normal. So and the other thing is I realized too, Peter, was again I mentioned, and if you hear in the podcast, I've mentioned about being judgmental, and I don't mean to be. It's not about being judgmental, but like sometimes I was with my girlfriend on the weekend and I wanted to show Kiara, I want to show her what I keep mentioning, what I keep telling her, or what I talk about on the podcast. Not that she listens to the podcast, but that's another story. But having said that, that to exercise and to want to have relatively a good physique, let's take away vanity, let's take away ego. If that gets you there, that's good too. Anything that gets you to the gym to make you train. But just go look at your beach. Go look at everyone on the beach. And if you put them together and the people that walk past, it's not about people being fat. Let's not look at fat. I don't want to look at that. But you'll see there's no real muscle quality. There's no muscle quality, meaning nobody really trains. Nobody exercises as you think they do. So those people that run, jogging, that's like a 5%. Those people that seemingly, as they get older, continue playing sport, that's pretty much a 5%. And people that go to the gym to want to become truly muscular and to take on age, everybody to take on age, the person jogging to take on age, the person playing sport to take on age, and the person going to the gym to take on age. We're not talking about 20-year-olds. I'm not talking about 19-year-olds. I'm talking about, your 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, even your 60-year-olds. Mate, let's go to your 70s. Yeah. Very rare to see people caring so much about their presence and appearance, because when you look around you, you wonder why nobody else is doing it. Hey guys, Nutrition Warehouse, your number one store for all your supplement needs. Visit in-store here in Australia or New Zealand, or go to nutritionwarehouse.com.au, or for our New Zealanders, go to nutritionwarehouse.co.nz, shop away, and at checkout, why not use discount code MTP15 to get 15% off all your orders. Hey guys, just want to thank one of our major sponsors, Alka-Power Water, as I cradle their 10-litre box here. alkapower.com.au. Go check them out. They're in your major retail stores, supermarkets, and please get yourself alkalined with Australia's number one alkaline water, Alka-Power. alkapower.com.au. Go check them out now. Hey guys, Steve here. Muscle Talks podcast. Just a quick shout out to one of our amazing sponsors, Macro Foods. You know how I feel about food. Food is very important to me. Macrofoods.com.au. Go check them out. And to get that little bit more off the price, use code MTP10 to get 10% off all your orders.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you see that even when you walk into a gym, is that no matter how many people come rushing out in January to start their new year off, right? Yeah. And the resolutions and everything like that, it is pretty much the same group of people that you run into in the gym at 5 o'clock in the evening or 5 in the morning or whatever. Those are the consistent ones. And certainly people will fall off in January. If there's 1,000 people there, it'll drop down to 500 soon after. But it is a really, really, it's a small number of people who are consistently good with that. And I think there was even statistics where they said somebody who is regular, consistent with the gym, we consider only to be 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, somebody who's doing this regularly. I'm at the gym 5 days a week.
Yeah, 6
generally
sometimes.
6, sometimes 7. If I include my day off, is sometimes still two times of cardio on it.
Yeah.
But that's an off day on a Sunday. So it becomes a part of your day. Arnold speaks about it all the time, that he continues to work out, and it's the only way he starts his day. It gets everything moving for him and kind of puts him in the right frame of mind. Is almost like meditation, I think, for a lot of people. I know it is for me.
Yeah,
for sure. Both the weight side of things, when you're so focused on the task at hand, and then even the cardiovascular time, where you have plenty of time to look around and observe and everything. But there's a time to kind of get yourself focused and maybe stay as motivated as you can for the remainder of the day and the next workout that you have.
Yeah, well,
so I really, really enjoy that time.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, no, but like I said, there are bodybuilders. I remember there were guys, and that I remember in my 20s, and I'm 56, and I find it hard to even really try to give myself any real kind of praise. I'm just a fighter, meaning I'm just tenacious and got grit, and I just keep thinking, just turn up. And
sure.
And in bodybuilding, I think we have body dysmorphia. We're never happy, even though there's progress there. I think when we look at past photos, we go, oh my God, I did do pretty good back then. I don't know why I'm not doing as good today. So
yeah,
we tend to do that. But I think, like with bodybuilding as well, the great thing is that there's muscle memory. There is. But if life captures you, which it did with you, you said yourself, before you know it, you've put on we run by kilos. Before you know it, you've put on 10 kilos. Before you know it, you've got love handles. Before you know it, you're a little bit sluggish. And then you're kind of like, I don't know, you think you're still that same guy until you realize the jeans don't button up anymore. The great polo shirt you were wearing doesn't wrap around your arms as good anymore, and your waistline isn't as tight as it was. And then before you know it, you think you're back at square one, and here we are again in bodybuilding. So like you said, you said something like sometimes you become a little bit oblivious. You go to the gym, you forget your training, you forget the whole progressive overload. You forget to, how about a gym workout be 50 minutes, not an hour and 50 minutes. And then you somehow switch on again and you go, okay, I'm back. I've got to start training. And then you are back. So I think that's the beauty of bodybuilding. If you're not careful, like Usain Bolt again, you end up getting a belly. You end up just turning up to the gym but not actually performing because you don't want a six-pack. But going for a six-pack just means you're training really hard. You're pushing yourself, and your diet.
Yes. Yeah, the diet is such a huge key in everything. And I think the hardest part for people to nail down, I think, it's everybody can go to the gym and lift the weights. It's great when you've got lots and lots of energy to be in a bit of a calorie deficit or to expend, as you were saying, instead of going 50 minutes to go for an hour and 50 or something like that. And to be in that spot where now your body's sluggish because it's running out of fuel. But because of that, you're going to now start to lose some body fat. Takes a long time. I think it's daunting for some people. I spoke about having a younger brother. Both of us competed when we were younger. He absolutely hates the idea of dieting. Fortunately for him, we're two different body types, and I would consider him, I guess the technical names is he would be a mesoectomorph, muscular, but more on the thin side. If he doesn't get calories in, he will lose weight. I'm definitely meso, carry muscle. I have a hard time losing muscle, but endomorph. If I eat the calories or if my workload starts to go down, I can put on weight, which is exactly what did end up happening to me. And you start enjoying food a little bit too much, but you're getting to the gym and you don't have a competition on the horizon or anything to, whether it be going to the beach or something like that to motivate you. And it can snowball pretty quickly. So you get to a point where, it kind of smacks you in the face. You're really like, wow, I'm not, the clothes, I've got two separate sets of clothes, the ones that I used to be able to wear and the ones that I have to wear to fit into now. And it's ironic that just before getting on here with you, I was kind of cruising through Instagram a little bit. And I saw a before and after photo of a guy that I saw, just an acquaintance, probably 7 years ago, and he's in the midst of that right now.
Yeah.
Got in fantastic shape 7 years ago, was on stage. I bet you he's about 170 pounds. And he said he got himself up to 275.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't recognize him, but he's now, that was last May, and he's now done about 8 or 9 months of dieting. And in this year, he's down under 200 pounds and now is wanting to really trim up. Likewise, there's another friend of mine who out in this storm yesterday tore his bicep. So he's in a sling. It was almost ironic that I was getting on here to talk with you and I'm scrolling through these things and they were reliving or showing me things that I've done myself or that I've gone through, that massive weight gain that I would never want to do again, but that I was able to, conquer. And then the bicep tear that this poor young guy is going through, Devin Bernardo, that somebody else, a pro here, Antoine Vaillant, messaged him and he said, I've done it twice. Don't worry, bro. You'll be back sooner than later. And I thought to myself, wow, I messaged Antoine one time saying when he tore his second bicep, same thing. I've gone through both. They'll heal up.
Yeah.
It's a bump in the road, but you will bounce back.
Yeah.
So that perseverance, like you're talking about, is very, very important.
It is because I don't think that's, do you know, Peter, that's why I love bodybuilding, right? That's why. Do you know, I know how, I mean, I wonder why I have a bodybuilding podcast. Trust me, I wonder. I mean, shouldn't Milosh, shouldn't Chris Cormier, shouldn't Sean Ray, shouldn't Dorian Yates, and shouldn't Lee Haney, and shouldn't Australia's number one bodybuilder in Australia and all the number one, but the funniest thing is bodybuilding isn't necessarily the stage. The stage is a destination, but it's not the journey. The journey is, and that's what I'm saying is there are greats, there are bodybuilders that, they worked hard and they produced this body and they won trophies, but they forgot what it was like not to win trophies and just sustain it. And then they fall into life's patterns and habits of fried food, maybe over calories, drinking beer, alcohol, whatever it is. Maybe the relationships they've entered, having children, getting married, complacency. And what I found myself, I realized when I got married and had children, I became the rubbish bin. So I'd go out, like when you get a partner, when you get a girlfriend, I'll tell you a little bit about girlfriends or women. They have two stomachs. I guarantee you they have two stomachs, and I'll tell you why they have two stomachs. One, when you go out with them, so you're a guy, you're a bodybuilder, and you're training, and then you meet a girl, and you go, hey, let's go out for a steak or whatever, and you order this, steak with Diane sauce, and she orders chicken parmigiana, whatever it is, right? You eat your steak, and she eats half her parmy. Who do you think's going to eat the other half? The boyfriend. So you're already adding calories, but you don't want to waste your money either. You're going, I don't want to blow my money. And the funny thing is, she goes, I can't eat it all. So she doesn't. But then when the dessert menu comes, for some reason, they've got another stomach to get dessert. So then you're introduced to dessert as a bodybuilder. You're introduced to dessert. And before you know it, you become a fat bastard, right?
There you go.
Right.
Yes,
right.
It can happen pretty easily.
But wait, you work that out. So you go, hang on. So you fix it. So you get back into not eating her food, you do whatever, and then you get married and you have kids. And then the kids, you go out with them one night and you go, right, I'm getting a pizza with the wife, whatever it is, one big family pizza. She's only going to have 2 pieces and you're going to have the other, whatever it is, 8, 10, 6, whatever it is. And the kids decide they don't want to eat your pizza. Who eats the pizza? The dad. So the dad now is not eating the wife's food. He's eating the kids' food. So he's another fat bastard. So then you got to navigate that one. That's what I was navigating, right? So I thought, right, it's either my stomach or the garbage bin? And I said, they're both garbage bins. Let's just use the one that's not my stomach. So I used to throw it and I actually wrote a blog about it. That's the funniest thing. In the 90s or early 2000s, that's when everyone was blogging. I wrote a blog. I wish I could find it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so I'm 56. Yeah, unfortunately divorced. But there was at 49, Peter, I was absolutely ready for stage. I didn't compete, but I was ripped, built, 90 kilos, incredible, right? I'm about 86 now, 85. But, and I got to 100 and, like, I think I got maybe 107 kilos, maybe more. And when I realized I lost Steve in the process again because I put on weight, I went, okay, here we go again. We're resetting back in the gym. We start again, start doing the calories, start training. And I gave myself 2 years to lose. I gave myself 2 years to lose basically 20 to 25 kilos. And the reason I gave myself 2 years, and I'll come over to you in a second, was I knew if I did it too fast, I'd be compromising muscle. So, definitely. And that's what I'm saying about bodybuilding. No one gets it. It's that delicate. It's such a fine line, and it always humbles you and brings you back. And that's when you know how much that's what I was going to say. That's how you know how much you love bodybuilding, because you always go back to it to want to rebuild. What's your story here?
It's like home, I guess. It's a comfort level. It's to the outside world, it seems like sacrifice, like all these terms that you sacrifice, or you're so disciplined, or but in reality, I think those who really, really love it and continue to go back to it, that's what they enjoy. They like the organization of it. They like the plan of, I mean, I'll say it, when I'm getting ready for a contest, getting up early in the morning and going to the gym to do cardio is something that would be off-putting to anybody else. 100%. And I actually look forward to it. I look forward to getting up early and getting into the gym and getting a sweat going, cleaning up after that, and already having accomplished something before the rest of my day. I like the end of the day, kind of bookmarking it with or bookending it with an actual weight workout, because that's usually how I do it, is fast cardio in the morning if I have a regular day, eat some calories through the day, carbohydrates probably before my training, train, and then a little bit of time before bed. And that to me is kind of like the perfect day. Bit of relaxation, don't need anything too elaborate. We have some really, really nice gyms around here that have just been built, but I don't even need that. During COVID, I'll tell you that I think it did the same to us all over the world, preventing us from getting into the gym. I had to build a fairly decent one in my garage, and some of the best workouts that I had were right in there, 100%. Kind of going back to the basics with a power rack and a bar, a lat pull down machine, and just some dumbbells.
But that's how they trained. That's how they trained in the 80s. The gyms weren't that fancy, and people train. And if you look at even Dorian Yates, and you said he's one of your favorite blood and guts. I mean, what kind of would you call what he had, a gym, or would you call it a bloody cellar?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, so ironically, I went to a university here called the University of Western. It's in London, Ontario, about 2 hours west of Toronto. Where I first started working out was called the Dungeon. So, and I went to university between 1993 and 1997. That's basically Dorian Yates's reign. You know what I mean? So I have a couple of things. When I was growing up as a like a preteen, I suppose, was when Sylvester Stallone, the Rocky movies were out. Top movies. Jean-Claude Van Damme was popular, like probably similar to yourself, right? Yeah, of course. Star Wars wasn't bodybuilding or even like an action figure, but it was still a hero, right? There was a good versus evil. It taught you there was a philosophy and wisdom in that. There was a lot. Definitely. Yeah. Do or do not. There is no try, right? Like with Yoda, that's probably the first coach you ever had. Like, that's interesting. What's that little guy telling you? Exactly. He's telling you, like, cut the excuses. Like, just do it. Yeah. And Nike said. And the dark side. We all have that dark side that tempts us, you know? That's totally. That's but growing up in that time and being introduced to weights, my father was as an athlete, weights were part of his training, but was always hockey and baseball. But there was a weight setups in my basement. He never pushed it on us, like, come on down here and you got to work out, but he would show us a few things.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just transferred over to me and my brother wanting to lift weights. There was probably some of it with some vanity when you're in your teen years, because we like the look of muscle,
Of course.
like in the Rocky movies and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
But my father instilled in me, and my girlfriend will even back this up now, almost like there's always somebody out there working harder than you or bigger than you. And so not to show off, like it would be very rare to catch us in a tank top or a stringer or anything like that. And as I've gotten older, I don't see it still that same way. I do think that if you've worked hard to build this body, then you should be very proud of it. Yeah. But I don't think that is what he was saying. I think he was getting away from the idea of bodybuilding or weightlifting and thinking because of that you become a bully or anything. So it was just still be very humble in your gratitude for being able to do this sport or having the genetics and the energy to be able to do that, right? So
yeah, I think bodybuilders in general look angry anyway. I mean, when we walk and we're focused, or we're wearing the dark sunglasses, we're predominantly not smiling. And look, I own a Harley Davidson. When you ride a Harley Davidson, everyone's scared. Everyone's scared of you, and you're just a nice guy, but they're just scared of you because on a Harley there is a rule: you don't smile while riding. You don't show your teeth. God's sake, you hold a stone face when you ride a Harley Davidson. And I guess with bodybuilding, it's the same thing. You go for a walk and everyone thinks, oh my God, is that the doorman down at the local club? Who is that guy? Who's that meathead? Yep. But the thing is, the mentality you're talking about is, because we're roughly around the same age, it's a 90s mentality. And in the 90s, when you trained at the gym, look, there was a period, I think, in the 70s and 80s, the guys, basically wore these little shorts and these sneakers with socks on, which we are wearing now, and these singlet tops, and it was relatively colorful, it was a funny, it wasn't, they were mass monsters. They were very, very shaped and aesthetic and serrated. And then in the 90s, besides the bicycle pants and the fluoro colors and the Wham t-shirts, we predominantly trained in probably the daggiest tracksuits, and even in summertime, we'd train in sloppy joes. We trained in the top you're wearing right now, because we felt like at the gym, the only time you took your top off was in the bathroom. You'd go in the bathroom to reveal it to your mates. And I think you as well, not you personally, Peter, but I think we felt we needed the element of surprise. So the more we didn't see, the more we believed we needed to work harder, and the more we didn't take it for granted that when we went in the bathroom and we ripped our top off, that's when we saw obliques, and that wasn't even for competition. That's when we saw abs, and it wasn't even for competition. And I think today, and this is, I'm going to swear, not because I want to swear, just to emphasize it. Today, I've got to love them though. I do love them. I do praise them. But people are taking photos in front of mirrors and doing selfies, bodybuilding poses, and I'm thinking, where the fuck is the muscle? And good on them. That's showing confidence, and I don't want to take it away. I can't do it. I do a pose and I'm still going, fuck, I still need to work hard. But these guys are doing double bicep poses, and I'm going, where's the peak? What's going on here? But so everybody's shortchanging the gym environment as not so, look at me, I'm muscular. It's more like, look at me, I'm at the gym.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm noticing all the exact same thing as you, and I try and have an open mind to it.
I try.
Similar to golf, I notice teenagers going in groups of fives and sixes around in the gym, and kind of one will be sitting on a machine and he's just doing it so he can use his cell phone.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to use that machine at all. I'll always go and find just something else to use. I like the fact that there's young people in the gym.
100%.
I think there's an etiquette that almost follows along with golf that should be taught
Yeah.
around the gym as to how you should be
Move
kind of
on.
carrying
You've got
yourself.
to move on.
Social media being what it is,
Yeah.
there is going to be cameras out and everything like that, but yeah, the flexing in front of the mirror and everything like that is just not something that I'm so used to, and I find it a little bit comical, as you said. Probably somebody with a ton of muscle isn't going to do it.
That's right.
And then, as you said, the ones who don't have all that much muscle are, I'm like, keep squeezing, because like you got a little bit more that's got to pop out there before your show ready or whichever.
And I do say to myself when I see them doing it, I'll be honest with you, apologize about my swearing. I think to myself, who the fuck am I to judge these guys? They've probably got a better ego than me. I mean, if I'm questioning myself and they're not, I think they're in a better position in life. If they think they've got
Perhaps,
it,
yeah.
they've got it. Like, you got to laugh at it, but it's kind of it's kind of like become that. Well, Dorian Yates even said today the gym's is not bodybuilding, it's exercise. People are just going and doing exercise. They're not bodybuilding. Yeah. So he's saying the gyms aren't bodybuilders. They're just doing exercise. They're going in there and doing exercise, fitness or movement, but they're not specifically blood and guts bodybuilding.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, you know.
And from the standpoint of business, the blood and guts guys, all they're doing is banging your weights and bending bars and creating too much noise. So
not enough of them.
Definitely not enough of them, and it's become more of a social thing to be at the gym for these young folks and even for older ones. So I think that's a really good point that he makes, is it's going there to exercise and to move a little bit, but nothing that it's pretty rare to find those hardcore gyms where you walk in and immediately like there's almost an aura to like, wow, this is I can remember, and it shows age to some degree, because I think I don't want to say smarter. I train in the manner that I need to at this age to not be injured,
of course, and
to be able to get some longevity. But there was times where I would get so nervous in going to the gym to train. Like,
tell me about it. Go on.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a good workout, but man, I don't know what's in store for me.
Yeah, like you'd go to yourself, I'm going to go do legs today, and you think, oh no, like this is going to hurt.
Exactly. Yeah, this is going to hurt. And if you got a partner there, or better yet, even a coach, you have the blueprint that you know what he's going to do to you, but there could be more. And so that's where I say the motto, I would keep repeating it like a mantra in my head down. You say, whatever it takes. Yeah. 3 more, right? Yeah. And then you get to the 3 Dorians, famous for doing it, 3 more, or Tom Platz, maybe even more so. You always got 5. So you get those 5, and they say, come on, 5 more. He's just getting as much out of you as you can. And I used to tell people when I was working as a trainer at the gym, because they would look and they say, that's weird. You're a trainer, but you also have your own trainer. I said, well, listen, you know what? Arnold can be considered the best bodybuilder in the world, but you become the best trainer he has when he's about to put down the bar on his bicep curls and drop it. And you say, no, you got 4 more. Yeah. And you push him to do 4 more. Everybody can get a little bit more out of that person. Some are more motivational than others. My first trainer that I had, that was his biggest bonus to me. I probably theoretically, having kinesiology background, I may have known more than him from the physiology. Yeah. But man, he could push me. He could get the most out of me, and we were like brothers in the gym. We would train a lot together, and because of that, I think vice versa. I would push him to be his best. He would push me to be my best, and that's sometimes what you need there.
How old? I've never had a coach, but how old were you when you got a coach?
Yeah, so I did probably my first, breaking my career up into the 2 halves. I did my first 8 years. I would say 6 were on my own.
Of course, I believe I know that.
Flex Magazine and Muscle and Fitness, trying out routines of the pros and everything. And then in the last 2 years before I got on my job in law enforcement and kind of finished in the first part, I I had a coach for the last 2 shows, and it was a big difference. Instead of me dictating and eyeballing how am I looking, I would say in the last probably 2 months, coming into a show, you can be your worst critic, where you start doing too much cardio or reducing the calories too much, or you are feeling too good and you're not doing as much as you need to. So having that next set of eyes, I think, to keep you in line, to give you a routine that all you have to do is follow, was really what hit home for me. And that is why when I started coming back, having a coach that now is more modern, where you can be hundreds of kilometers away and just sending pics, that just wasn't for me. It got me back to where I needed to be. But in the end, and the coach that I'm with now, I needed somebody that I was going to meet up with, that we're going to strip down and, do posing together, where he can actually see what it's going to look like on a stage and give me proper feedback, as opposed to photos that can be blurry or not good light. They're like, hey man, you're looking good. Keep the calories the same spot, or add another 5 minutes of cardio. It was just a little bit too impersonal. So whether it's old school or not, having somebody that I knew that I could meet up with was essential. And that's kind of, my first coach was like that. And now my coach that I have currently is somebody that I get together with frequent.
I feel like, though, this conversation for me, which does so often, and especially with bodybuilding, this is a light bulb moment. I'll tell you why it's a light bulb moment for me.
Okay.
So we're talking about old school. So old school, there wasn't many people that went to the gym, but those that went took it seriously. Like those that went to bodybuild. So back then, your spotting partner, or people that spotted you, they were your coaches. So think about it. The gym was full the gym was full of coaches. You were a coach. Right. So you went in there and some guy said to you, hey, Peter, I'm about to do bench press. I need a spot. How many people ask us for spots now? None. Zero. Yeah. Your coach is your spotter. So I think that's why you're going to coach. So back then, it was prerequisite. You went to the gym and you did progressive overload. So you'd go there and you do your first few sets, and then you go, even if the guy, you didn't know who he was, you go, hey, buddy. And you go, yeah. You go, do you mind you spot me? It was like a rule of yes, of course, you need a spot.
Oh, yeah.
And then he'd go to you, how many do you want to do? And you'd say, let's say 10. And he goes, when did you want me to come in? And you believe, you say 8. Yep. But sometimes he's got to come in at 6, or he doesn't come in at all. But but he then goes to you, like you said, Dorian Yates or Tom Platz, another 3, another 2, because you know you need to spot. So you're going in as their coach that you're not getting paid for, because you're and that's why you had training buddies, or why you met up with your mate to train, or why and when you finished your set and the guy helped you put the bar back on the rack, what did he do? What did you say to him straight away? You always went, make sure you get me to spot you, buddy. So we all used to say, mate, you just help me, make sure I help you. So I guess we didn't need coaches then, because predominantly the gym didn't have iPhones or phones. It didn't have distractions. It didn't have just exercise. We all knew that the camaraderie was spotting, helping, encouraging, spotting, helping, encouraging. And then it was more like, if you needed to gauge your body, you might say to your mate that you were there with, or a regular that you always said hello to, you might say, hey, buddy, you want to come to the bathroom, which sounds weird, but you want to come to the bathroom to check out my body and tell me what you think I should improve on. So that was coaching in a way.
For sure it was.
But we don't have it now. So we've got to pay for coaches.
Yeah. Yeah, no, true. There almost seems to be a very distinct time frame switch where coaches now it seems essential, right?
It is.
I mean, in the pro ranks, when somebody goes without one, it's outlandish. Like, how on earth is somebody going to do that? But Sean Ray, I don't think ever had a coach in his life, right? There's many of
Lee Priest never had one, and I think Flex Wheeler and Chris Cormier were training buddies. So that's what I mean. Right, yeah. Even Dorian Yates didn't have a coach; he had some training buddy, and I think this is what I'm saying is that, and a lot of times. And what I'm seeing as well at the moment with the stage, usually your training buddy was probably so close to possibly getting on stage himself. I'll get a coffee, Chris, if you don't mind as well. But that you might have gone on stage to compete, but your training body is not far behind you. The only difference is he's not conditioned. He hasn't dieted.
Right, yeah.
But today, some of the people that go on stage, you just think, man, you need a couple more years. So like the sport has, and I guess like the gym memberships and like competing memberships, registration, there's not enough blood and sweat guys getting on there. So they'll just take the next best thing, I think. And that's how it goes.
Yeah. Well, for the monetary side of things or the business side of things, having more and more numbers is better. Think of all the classes that they've created for the women's side, and then the new classes that they have in the men's side. My stream of natural bodybuilding is exploding.
It's exploding.
No, is it ever? And I think it's a good thing, but maybe most for the promoters. Like there is money to be made in opening up shows to everyone. And like you said, the confidence to, if you can go up to somebody in the gym who's flexing and thinks they look great and say, hey, why don't you jump into a show?
That will.
Here in Canada, there used to be about a 4-stage qualification strategy that you had to get to the nationals. It's now just one show, and then you place in the top 5, you can go to the nationals. If you luck out and you're in a class that maybe isn't as strong, you could have a pro card. Now I'm of the belief that the cream will always rise to the top. So they say, well, so many pro cards being handed out here. Yes, but somebody who gets a pro card who isn't necessarily pro level yet, he's not going to go in and win a pro show. So on the natural side, for sure, we need more under the IFBB. There's competing federations that all have fantastic bodybuilders there, but like in pro sports, the NBA, Major League Baseball, or the NHL, the IFBB is the premier federation, the premier league.
Yeah.
I think at some point there will be a draw over, whether it's because they create a championship that kind of rivals the Olympia on the natural side, or because, as they're doing now, they give qualifications for the guys who win classic physique and that sort of thing to go to the Olympia.
Look, I just had Sean Fury, and he's the advocate to try to create this new natural bodybuilding phenomena, and I get where he's coming from. It's funny. They're bagging him, but I don't think it bothers him. But I don't think anyone understands where he's going with this, and I understand. Imagine this. All right? Imagine the IFBB having the enhanced part, like everyone's enhanced, and then we've got the natural part. Now we already know there's a size difference, but that doesn't mean genetic difference. If you're a genetic freak naturally, and you're a genetic freak on the gear, or you're not on the gear, I reckon there should be an overall where the best natural and the best enhanced go at it on stage, a few, because it shouldn't be about size. It should be about density, quality, conditioning, posing, because a natural could do it. Maybe not in size, but in density, muscle quality, muscle bellies. You just don't know if the scorecard is according to that. So what I'm getting at is there shouldn't be it shouldn't be that it's like it just came to my mind now. It's like going to a car show and you're looking at Porsches. You're not going to compare a 930 Carrera with a 911 Standard or the current Porsches, but when you put them all together, you're going to pick the best car that's looked after itself, the best original car. And sometimes the 911, the 1978 might win it because it had beautiful lines, it had beautiful detail, it had chrome bumper bars, it had bumpers. Whatever it did, the guy preserved that car. So some people can preserve a body that probably can take on the best. Yeah, it might not look monstrous like them, but I see where Sean Fury's going with that, what he's trying to create. And I think the this is the thing. And it's not me. I'm not a professional, and I'm listening to these podcasts that are happening at the moment, and they're talking about synth oil or something, people injecting themselves. So what they're saying, even John Brown back in Mr. Universe days, he believes that today's bodybuilding is manipulated. In other words, we can manipulate your bicep by injecting oil in it or stimulating with a machine or a cream or an inject, whatever it is. So what happened to the Lee Haney days? What happened to the Arnold Schwarzenegger days, where these guys, it was sheer bicep peaks, and that's how they trained it, to get a peak, and their obliques were done by crunches, and diets, and like it just seems as though it's become literally like a machine at the moment. We're building machines. Does that? Yeah, you know what I mean.
I get the same feeling,
and it's sorry to interrupt. I'm just saying it's dangerous. Look, I don't know the numbers, but I'm hearing bodybuilders are dying. I thought it wasn't. It's not supposed to be a sport to die for. It's
definitely not.
It's a fashion parade, for God's sake. It's supposed to be art. It's supposed to be mimicking a statue. You know what I'm trying to say? Mimicking a Spartan or a gladiator or some. But it's become literally like we've gone AI and we've typed in bigger arms on that one, and then we created a cartoon character that, of course, dwarfs Superman, but Superman had nice aesthetics. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. And that's why I enjoyed the aspect of classic physique coming back. But there's no denying that even within there, that there's the abuse of steroids or drugs. I think everybody admits to that. And there's in any sport, whether it be even football, we'll watch the Super Bowl on 2 weekends, head injuries and stuff like that people will accept as part of the game. So I think when somebody goes into bodybuilding, they recognize that they're going to live healthy and every other aspect outside of it, but they are going to take something that enhances their muscles. I think the things like the oil or implants that people are talking about, they're possibly there, and that's gone way too far.
Yes,
but is the essence of sports, I suppose, is that there's always another level that people will get to, and you'll never ever in this sport. It's not even necessarily counted as cheating, though. It's part of the judging criteria to be penalized if there's something that looks out of place, if the synthol injection were to create lumps or anything like that. But I agree with you, and I never thought of it, although I do know Sean. I've spoken with him before. I kind of understand his main idea or theory moving forward. But yeah, even pitting one versus the other, I agree with you. I think there are genetic exceptions and freaks on the natural side that have physiques that are just mind-blowing. That if you were to open it to the general public and they became the judges, you would most likely see that person like undoubtedly become the victor. That's right. And I'm a Derek Lunsford fan. But I will say that the conditioning that he brought as the Mr. Olympia this year falls far below that of other champions previously, and he may be able to correct that or not. I do like his physique, but it's gotten to a level where that size and everything like that has become the predominant factor, it seems, in judging.
Yeah, well, the thing is, and again, I don't know why there is this debate. There is a debate, and I think this is why. I think everybody that's debating is debating because they love bodybuilding. That's why they're debating. I think everyone's debating because they're seeing it become more about looking like a fridge door than looking like some French polished furniture designed by craftsman, wood chipping type person that's really good with his chisel and his hammer, but instead some production line is building cupboard doors that just are shiny white doors, and there's no more feature pieces on it, and that's where we've gone. But when you look at the 80s and when you look at the 70s, but especially I think finishing up at the 90s and early 2000s, like even looking at Ronnie Coleman, I mean, there was, I think, a point where I think he even knew it was going too far because, I mean, his belly and everyone's belly, but he had a small waistline as well at one stage. He had this hourglass. I mean, I think it finished predominantly there, meaning I think we Dorian Yates set a standard, and then Ronnie Coleman held on to a certain standard that had small waistline, but then it started to blow out, and then now they'll walk out there with big bellies and only pull it in when they're posing, and then when they're not posing, they can't hold the belly anymore. And I don't. To me, it looks like a beer belly. Looks like someone smashed a few beers, but I think the 90s, because they keep mentioning those guys and Flex, especially Flex Wheeler, what did he really know? I mean, Flex Wheeler just knew a few fundamentals. He knew push hard. He knew the cocktail of whatever he was taking was perfect. It wasn't more is not better, less is more. I mean, he would work that out. But it was predominantly tuna, chicken breast, egg whites, rice, sweet potato, meaning no one knew the science yet. No one knew how to count calories yet. No one knew such numbers. And these guys played with fire to the point of how much they depleted. I mean, they used to have, I heard as well, ambulance officers in the back rooms because these guys would deplete that far that even Ronnie Coleman, I think they had to hydrate him or get oxygen into him because so that's how far these guys did it without knowing science. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was more trial and error for them and, you know, willing to do just about whatever it took. I mean, it's back in that day, although there's been bodybuilders that have passed even recently now too with Jason Lowe, 38 years old. That's just shocking to me. But hearing less and less of it on stage. Back then, Paul Dillette, I remember, got carried off. Mohammed Benaziza and then Andreas Munzer there, pretty much the leanest, most ripped athlete I've ever seen in my life. But these are guys who, you know, suffered by giving their life for the sport. So nothing that I would ever be willing to do. It's something that I love.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Never. No.
It is. No. It is. Go on.
I still want it to be something that is healthy. And even the fact of taking a natural route to it is something that's allowed me to continue to play other sports and other activities that I don't think a lot of guys who are heavier or bigger, more muscle bound can do. I don't know if there's too many guys that they're still playing tennis or skating on a hockey rink or anything like that. Maybe Phil Heath, because he was an athlete long before, but even he, I think, probably got to a point where he could probably not play basketball, certainly the way that he would when he was in college. So that's in my own thought process. I've never had any disdain for anybody who's chosen to do drugs, just not my choice. And maybe the way that my career worked out, because I do know that it was about 28 when I had my last show and I competed at the national level. My coach kind of came to me and he goes, you know, it's time, right, Pete? And what he was saying was 28 years old, you probably reached your genetic potential as it stands right now. You've done pretty good here in the natural stream, but let's make the change. And I looked at him not knowing that I was going to take time away, join a new career and everything. And he just said, I still think I got more. Like, I don't think I'm at my potential. I don't think I've reached the limit. So that was kind of a conscious decision that although it's a coach kind of advising you that maybe that's something you can do, that I wasn't yet ready for it. And then for me, that time off and coming back, it just wasn't a possibility. I'm like, what am I going to start into doing steroids when I'm in my 40s? No, like I've built a base, even though I've gotten heavy. I have gained some muscle over this period of time, and there's definitely some muscle quality that's come in the 14 years away from stage. So let's get ripped and see what we got under here. And I was pretty pleasantly surprised, and you know, can continue to feel as though I can make progress, whether or not it's even just small. It could be shape things or better posing and that into my 50s.
Yeah. Well, I want to just quickly go over your competition, but I'll say to you this: like I said, because I'm going to ask you after this what I say, but I've people know I took a cycle myself at 49. So at 49, I was natural all the way to 49, and I was turning 50, and I said, you know what, I had no coaches, no one training with me, no nothing, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna do a cycle. So I mean, I just went to one of the biggest gym bros that I knew did it, and his brother competed, and I said, I won't mention his name, but I just said, hey, I want to do something. And, you know, the first thing he said to me is, why? He goes, why? And I said, I just want to try it. He goes, he was actually talking me out of it and everything. Oh, wow. And he actually said to me, do you know how to do this? And I said, you show me, I'll do it. I'll write notes on it, right?
Yep.
And I have to say, it was miraculous, like what I experienced, meaning the strength that I got. But boy, did I know I was dumb, meaning I thought the more you took, the better it was, but the more you took, the worse it got. So the more I took, the worse it got. I mean, predominantly energy-wise and predominantly appetite-wise. It would suppress your appetite sometimes. It would...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it played on your mind. It had made you restless sleeping sometimes. It would just everything. It was really, you have to find a sweet spot. There's a sweet spot to it, right?
Yeah.
But when I finished the cycle at 49, turning 50, looking amazing, really.
Right.
At 51, I became a fat slob again. This is the truth, right? So 51, I put on like 20 kilos. And that's what I said, that it just doesn't matter what you're doing, what you're taking. What matters is, this is what I'm saying is, I realized I never, ever feel I've exhausted natural enough. So why would I need steroids if I haven't exhausted natural? Because steroids doesn't build something that you don't go work hard for, that you don't diet for. And how do you know how good you are if you haven't done it naturally, really? And that's at any age. That's at any age. Like, let's say a guy at 35, he's never trained, never been at the gym. Well, just because he takes steroids doesn't mean he's going to end up with big muscles straight away. But once Dorian Yates said this as well, whatever you built with steroids, whatever you've built with steroids goes away. If you don't have steroids in your system, you go back to a natural state. So in other words, if you did 10 years natural, you did 10 years natural and you built a natural physique and it's very muscular, then the next 5 years you took steroids, you will build a body that now from that baseline went to another level, and that's what it is. What Dorian Yates is saying, if you take away the steroids, those 5 years mean nothing. You're still going to have what the 10 years you built with. So that's why I haven't touched it again. The truth be told, I've never missed it. I've never missed it one bit, because I realized I can eat better. I can train better. I can do everything so much better that I believed that if I took steroids, I could sit on the couch and it all happened for me, but it doesn't. So my question to you is, have you ever been tempted to take steroids?
You know what? So I paused there for a minute just to say that I think everybody thinks about it, but I can't even say that I've gotten to that tempted point.
All right, you've thought about it.
Yeah. Especially even when I was posed with that from the coach, where at 28 he's saying, "Hey, you know, it's time now." Now, keep in mind as well, though, I will say this, and I mean, we're recording, so there's no problem. This year at the Ben Weeder, and last year actually too, they do a polygraph test.
Good.
So in my field of law enforcement, I've never done the polygraph test, but I certainly do Q&A interviews and interrogations and stuff like that. this wasn't so much an interrogation, but they do hook you up to the system and they have your heart beat up and they're using the polygraph to ask you about anything that is on the International Olympic Committee's banned list. So it's all these different substances. And it goes back only 3 years. So this is a point of contention right now in the IFBB with other federations is saying, well, why isn't it lifetime? And why is it? Well, to me, you got to start somewhere. They've always done a urine test, but it only tests for certain metabolites and for so long. So this 3 year and back is a good start. When I started competing, ephedrine or the ESA stack, ephedrine, aspirin, and caffeine was a huge thing for fat loss.
Yeah.
It's now banned.
Oh, go ahead.
I bring, it's on the Olympic Committee's banned list. So even that terminology of natural, if I were to say lifetime natural with what now is on a banned list, I would have to say no.
Okay.
But it would be prior to 2000 that I took it. And it almost goes back to Arnold's day where these guys that were taking steroids, sometimes you hear stories about them just being at the front of the gym like they were jelly beans. They would just take them and they'd be eating Depot.
Yeah.
They were just candies and this is going to help you work out and this is what you do. Almost like taking a bottle of creatine or whatever else. These are supplements. I use them and they help out. Being tempted with steroids, other than me thinking about it when my coach said, hey, it's time to go, it was just never anything that really interested me. I felt as though I had lots and lots of room to go and frankly felt very, very good. Now, as I enter into my 40s and into my 50s, I do know that there's plenty of guys that are all on TRT and I can't say that I've ever had my testosterone levels tested. Not even something that comes across me because as long as I want to compete in this federation, that's not even something that I could do.
Yeah.
So during a time period where a lot of people are doing that sort of thing, and I think it is the wave of the future to increase testosterone, at least up to base levels, maybe even growth hormone and everything like that, it's not going to be something that I involve myself with. Should I get to a point where I stop bodybuilding or that I feel a crash or my numbers are really, really down, I guess it's something you could always entertain. But during my competition years, by no means. And the way that I look at it is that having just competed, they have over 40s classes, over 50s classes. And as you're saying, 60s, 70s. And then I've even competed with a guy, I don't know if I'm going to remember his last name, but James Arrington. Is over 90 years old.
No way.
And he competed at the North American Championships in the Masters.
No way.
And talking to him backstage, he says, I get ready for a couple shows a year and we do it as a travel thing. And what he's meaning is him and his wife prepare for these shows together and they get to go to the shows. And he says, I don't plan on checking out anytime soon. So they call it over 80, but he's actually over 90, but there's just nobody else to compete against him in the I don't know if I would ever continue that long, but I plan on doing this well into my 60s.
How did he look? What do you reckon?
Well, so here's something that always nails me a little bit because you win an over 40 class or an over 50 class and you'll get man, you look good. But there's always the caveat for your age.
Yeah.
Because I still like to test myself against the young guys, but there is that realization that there's, I think when you get older, there's a muscle maturity that you have. But there's a quality that somebody who's in their late 20s, 30s or something like that also has this vibrance with them too. So pretty tough to compete with it. James Arrington, for somebody who's in his early 90s, looks amazing.
Wow.
Still has muscle. As you get older, and I would say that this is in your 60s and 70s, you start to see a little bit of loose skin and everything like that. He tightens it up. Like it's not like he has a Christmas tree or anything like that in his lower back. But man, if I could look anything like that into my 70s, I think I would be doing very, very good. So there's no doubt that he puts in work. And is probably motivated to get up there and have his wife cheer him on and everything like that, let alone probably kids and grandkids that come out. So it's a very inspirational story. And one that I have the same thing where I have family come out to some of the more local events and to have your own son there cheering you on, your nieces and nephews and your brother and that's a rush. Like no matter where you're placing is to be able to enjoy the food afterwards with them. And, I always ask, what do you guys want to get? They're like, no, you're the one who hasn't eaten. Like, what do you want to get? I'm like, really? It doesn't matter to me. I'm just really happy to be here with you guys and share. to share this. So big support in my life, that's for sure.
What is it about? Because what is it about competing for you then? Because I'm sensing, and it's I think you're happy with a fair and honest result. So
Definitely.
yeah, definitely. So what is it
Yep.
about the stage then? What is it about that feeling of nephews, children, people watching you? But what is it? What is that rush? Explain it to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, geez, there's just the reality of being on a stage with
Right.
the lights on you, and you're presenting something. As you said, you're covered up the whole time, but now you're finally revealing this artwork, I suppose.
Yes.
Even putting it, it's kind of strange to say that you want to put yourself up there to be judged, but I do.
Yeah.
I want to hear nothing but the critique of where can I improve. It's great for them to say, hey, you looked great today, but okay, but there must be something. Yeah, more thickness in your lower back. Your hamstrings need to be, because now that gives me a blueprint for what I got to go and work on next. Because I think in the end, although being on stage is nice, competing in front of your family and friends, which is kind of a conclusion to the process, it's always looking forward to what's next. I can definitely say the last show that I did, the Southwestern Natural Showdown, they called it, was probably the best time that I had backstage, though. There was 3 Canadians, and that was camaraderie at its best. We all went down there, were cheering each other on. We were in the same class and a couple of different helping each other pump up, like just a very, very supportive group. And that goes for everybody else. There's people there from the States and everything, cheering each other on, congratulating each other, letting winners know just how fantastic they looked. I like that, because we've all gone through the same trials and tribulations, whether you're the last place guy or the first place guy. You've dieted for that 4 months or 6 months or whatever it might be. You've trained hard in the gym. You've gone through injuries or, upset stomach, sleepless nights, whatever it might be. And you've all conquered. So as my coach will call it, the brothers in iron. Like, there's not too many others that will understand that, but we're on the same wavelength in many cases. So I like that part of the stage. Nerves are not really that big of a thing anymore. Like, I get excited maybe more so. Nerves would be in the first stretch of shows that I did, man. Like getting wondering who's going to show up at this show. I always try and look at it now where I'm going to put out my best, and whoever shows up, if they've got better genetics or put in more work than me, then great. But I'm going to make it real hard for them to win. And should they, I'll shake their hand and know that I've got work to do the next year to hopefully overcome.
So when did you start competing? That's one.
1996.
96. And how long did you compete? What was the first show?
Yeah, so like I said, I was in university during that stretch of 93 to 97. Yep. So both me and my brother, being close to the same age, we're watching Dorian Yates and flipping through the Flex magazines and training in that at our respective universities. I think in that little write-up that I gave you, I said we went to a bodybuilding show and we were in the stands, and behind us were a bunch of guys almost mocking the ones who were on stage. And these were great big burly guys, like strong guys from the gym, but guys with a lot of body weight and body fat on them. They hadn't dieted probably ever in their life. So how dare they say, look at this guy, he doesn't have much of a tan on, or look at him, he's about 4 weeks out right now, right? So we kind of both turned to each other. We weren't going to say anything to these guys. That was their prerogative to, make fun from the stands rather than be on stage. But I remember my brother and I both looking at each other and go, you know what? Let's put our money where our mouth is. We train, but we've never ever done this side of things. Let's sign up for this bodybuilding show next year. So that was in Windsor, where he went to school. And I did that show 2 years in a row. It was called the Windsor Cup at the time, 96 and 97. Finished somewhere kind of middle of the pack towards the bottom of the pack. So it was an eye opener. I thought, as you do in your first ever show, you're as lean as you've ever been, tanned, all this sort of stuff. I was going to blow the socks off everybody. And I quickly learned when I got out there's other people that have trained. And, but I think it can go one of two ways. It can either demoralize you so that maybe you don't want to do it ever again, and you're just in the gym lifting weights, or it can motivate you. And I think most people are motivated. I don't know if there's many that just do one show and then they're done. That one motivated me to get better for the next year, which, like I said, I finished kind of in the same area. And then did a couple of other shows that led into the natural stream, which a guy I was working at a gym had started up, the Ontario Naturals, Winston Roberts. He is kind of, at the time, was like third in command. You had Joe Weider, Ben Weider, his brother, and Winston and Ben were both from same area in Montreal and were close friends. So he was an IFBB judge. So I got to work with this guy and hear his stories. And then when he invited me out, he said, "Hey, Peter, we're going to have a natural bodybuilding show here for the province of Ontario, and it will qualify you to move on to get a chance to go to the World Championships." So that World Championships, I think it's where Ronnie Coleman won his title. It is where Quinton Aria, who's a current pro, won his title as well. So there was a path to the pros, but it wasn't a very easy one, and one that would be such a long shot that it wasn't anything that I ever really thought would be possible. But I thought that I could maybe do well at the Ontarios and go on to a national show, which is what I ended up doing. And it just happened at that 8-year stretch. I had some finishes in the top 2 or 3, and then that's where my career came to a bit of a pause, and but not an end. Like I really I was set on not saying I'm done competing. I'm just not competing right now. So changed my focus to my career, and I've got a son who's now 18 years old, but at the time a young child during that stage, and did everything I could with him, and then got to an age where things led to having a little bit more time and being able to get back to the gym more seriously. And that's where I'd actually planned on at least dieting and seeing kind of what I could get down to, is when I first tore my bicep. So I tore my left bicep at work fighting with a guy, and I was in a brace for probably just shy of 7 or 8 months. They reattach the tendon and get it back to its flexibility, and you literally go back to lifting 2-pound dumbbells. Like it is humbling. You're in a cast very short period of time, 2 weeks, but when that cast comes off, you are shriveled. It looks like a wrist that you have up here in your bicep. Worked with for so long. So to see it evaporate. But as you said earlier, muscle memory does exist, 100%.
It does.
And I'd read some of the science that says that if you continue training the other side of your body, even while one is compromised, that would work. So I basically went to training lower half and my right side to still send the signals to the left to keep it there. And in the end, that didn't mean much anyway, because as soon as I got this brace off and I was back to work for a number of months, I was out playing hockey, and I had I'm a defenseman, so in front of the goal, and I had a bigger guy, probably 250 pounds, fall on my stick and on my arms, and my right bicep blew. So within the span of a 2-year period, tore both of those biceps, had the exact same brace. I have matching braces at home that I keep just for memories, and went through the same rehab, but almost with a sense of purpose, whereas like I kind of looked up to the sky and said, "God, you're really challenging me here. I thought I was going to get back to something that I really, really loved. You tore one bicep on me and tore me another one. Are you sending me a sign that I just got to get through this and then everything will be okay?" And that is kind of what ended up happening. Is the surgery that I had on both sides repaired everything perfectly. There's not even any sort of, there are scars, I suppose, but there's no difference in the shape of the muscle or the strength of the muscle or even the way that I train it or anything like that. So very, very, very challenging, but in a way where you face it the same way that you do anything else. It's just a roadblock that you're going to have to plow through and move on to better things. So do you think your brother was quietly your nemesis? Like, I know that I got a cousin. It's funny. We're the same age, and we've got the same name because we're named after our grandfather. So, So my dad's brother had a son. My dad had a son, me, and we both were named after our grandfather. But the funniest is his name, because we've got the same name. He trains at the gym too, and he's relentless. So it's kind of like quietly, he's my nemesis. Like if he isn't stopping, I ain't stopping. If he's pushing, I'm pushing. And if I'm turning up and he's got bigger arms than me, we got a problem here. I got to get back and get my arms up. So was your brother quietly your nemesis, like your challenge? Definitely a challenge, yeah. And I'll tell you, it was in this way. Both of us grew up playing sports, but I was and I think he'll admittedly say this, I was the one who was maybe a more natural.
Yeah.
So in baseball, I would be the captain of the team. I'd be a pitcher and do quite well. Same thing in hockey. I was a fairly decent defenseman. Whereas my brother was always a good player, but not always like the highlight.
All right.
So when I went away to university, my brother continued. He's on his own here. He doesn't have his big brother around or anything. He put on probably close to 25 pounds of muscle in 1 year. More time on his hands. Him and his buddies, like you were saying, went over and spotted each other. He went to the gym. He started eating food like crazy. And when I came home, he was a totally different person.
Yeah.
Bigger, more confident. He was going to the prom with like the prettiest girl in school. Like it had just done wonders for him. And similarly is like the same passion that I have for it. He has for not bodybuilding, but just athletics in general. He does more like marathon type things now and adventure races. Still a good amount of muscle on him, but he kind of overtook me for a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure. And put me in a spot where Big Brother is now. I'll still say this to this day. I've told him before. I said, if you weren't so opposed to dieting, you out of the two Boncardos, you are the one with the better genetics. You could be far better. You've got broader shoulders. Yeah. He's got a smaller waist, and he is, as I said, being a mesoectomorph.
Yeah,
I think for bodybuilders is the one that he could just eat and eat and eat and keep adding muscle almost in a lean gaining fashion, and do really, really well. And I've tried to convince him. I said, hey, listen, the exact same thing that I did. You could train for a year or two and get into this natural show, qualify, and become a pro, and we could travel around and do shows together. And he's just so opposed to the dieting that doesn't want to do it.
It is a bit tough, the dieting. There's no denying it.
It is. Yeah, for sure. Even to this day, though, when we go to the gym, we're the best training partners. He is the best partner I've ever had to be able to push me. And I'm sure some of that is not wanting to let him down. I can remember a leg. I always try and get my last leg session in with him. He lives about 4 hours away from me, but I make a couple trips down there during my contest prep to see him. It's motivating for me, and if I can, to get a leg day in there. And I remember there was one where we were pushing just on a leg press, not even squatting or anything like that. And there was a woman beside us who, like, she was fearful for how deep he was pushing me. He kept screaming. He goes, I got you. Just keep pushing. And it was to that almost like to failure, right? On a leg press. And this lady was, and it's that kind of trust that you can put into a good training partner, or in this case here, a brother, that he knows what you have in you, and he's seen you push before. So yeah, I wouldn't put the term like a nemesis, but definitely a challenge. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Actually, I should Google what nemesis means. What does nemesis mean, Chris? And have we got the air conditioning on? I'm sweating.
Nemesis is correct. I think nemesis is almost like an enemy, though.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is,
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but like my cousin, he was not my enemy, but when it came to him looking better, he was my enemy. Like I'm going like, hang on, motivated. This is. And the funny thing is, recently we were looking at photos and currently, and I never heard it from him. He goes to me, "You always had far better legs," and I never believed that. And when I heard it, I went, "Wow!" I thought he had a better package than me. But so I think sometimes the only reason we push hard, we push to have us look. Let's be honest here, Peter. I mean, if you were the only bodybuilder walking around with big arms and a puffed chest, you would have given up a long time ago. But we do compete against other men. We do try to be the best 40-year-old we can be. You don't necessarily have to go to the police force, and I mean, you have your police uniform fit nicely and snug, and you've tucked in your shirt and you're quite fit, because a lot of police officers today aren't looking very fit, aren't looking the part either. But we, as men, I think we've always played sports against other men, and we want to be better than our rival or our other opposing side. So I think quietly it's a healthy thing. I think, like you said, you turned up to a competition believing, oh, I've got this. Look at me, the way I dieted. And then you had that humble look and you go, wow, I'm not the only one doing it here. And I think, as I've mentioned, you want to make sure that the best man wins, but you actually win against some of the best men. And that's why you can come 5th, 6th, 7th, 4th, 3rd, because I think, there is an element of disappointment, but fair is fair. The right guy won, or people that you competed against looked amazing. And I think that's why your dad loves sport as well, was the competition and beating somebody. You're playing to break records. Someone must have done 9 holes in one, maybe, or 8, or there was a consistent 5, but your dad done 10, and as rare it is, he didn't need to do 10. You know what I'm trying to say to you?
No, there's always you're looking for a challenge in life at all, no matter what direction you're going. And I think sports is one of the best spots for us to find those, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing that way, to keep you excited, to keep you young, to keep you motivated. It's good.
What was it that made you lapse between drinks? What was it for you to then compete, stop, and maybe someone's listening to understand they're in that position now, and would they ever come back to competing? What was it that sometimes a tragedy, sometimes a broken heart, a broken spirit, this is too hard, I think I should enjoy life. Maybe you're feeling like bodybuilding doesn't make you enjoy life. What was it that made you, or you mentioned as well that you wanted to double down in your career, which people do, and you wanted to utilize your time to be the best in your career, which means there is a sacrifice. So what was it for you to have some time away from it? And how did you feel realizing the time away, what you may have sacrificed? Yeah, a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the time away was successful in forwarding my career, because there's different sacrifices that you make to get to different positions within it. It allowed me to be around my son, and the garbage can, like you said, anything he didn't want to eat became what I would then be eating, or we'd be enjoying, and that sort of stuff. Whether it's just the popcorn at the movies or pop and everything like that. But you start to lose yourself a little bit, in the sense that your identity, even to some degree, was the guy who, like, for 8 years in a row, you were competing and very disciplined in bodybuilding and everything like that. And then now you're looking in the mirror and you see a rounder face and not that same discipline that you have. I mean, to some degree, your discipline has gone in a different direction, I suppose, but not quite as structured. And I definitely miss that structure to some degree. It provides you with a goal in the end, like whether it be even just going away to a vacation or something like that and saying, hey, I've got 3 months to get myself in shape. I think people can use it like that. For me, competition provides that start and finish, kind of bookending different things. And that's one of the things that I would say, in getting older, I've been able to reel in a little bit. I was very much all or nothing. During the competition phase, I was prepping and everything like that, and everything would be on point. As soon as it ended, and I think like many people do, it was binge time. And I would put on weight and really, you've sacrificed for so long. Now it's time to reward yourself. And you don't have to get to the gym.
It's a bit disappointing, isn't it? It's a bit disappointing.
It is, yeah. So, which I found now, it was so much harder to lose a great deal of weight to get to competition day, and then to put that back on so quickly, that I've just decided that my mentality needs to be that I enjoy myself, but that I don't overindulge.
Lose yourself.
That I continue. You don't lose yourself. Yeah. That I continue to get to the gym more frequently and continue to add cardiovascular work in there. As you get older, I think your heart is important. So whether it's just to keep body fat off you, or to actually challenge your heart a little bit, and then just overall, clothes fit better. I think you look and feel better. I can tell you, in my other sporting activities, I still play hockey a little bit, that I'm lighter. It's much easier to get around out there. And maybe one of the biggest things, and this is what you said, is that you don't notice sometimes the changes yourself. I can remember somewhat recently having a picture out and showing it to my son. And I think it was my brother, myself, and then the 2 young kids. They would have only been about 10. And I say he's 18 now. And he said, Dad, I almost don't remember you that fat. And I was. When I look at that photo, I am fat, but I can remember back to being in that photo and thinking I was just a big,
Yeah,
big muscular guy. And I'm
but
like,
no, you're
wow,
fat. I know.
exactly.
I've seen
Yeah.
those
So
photos. Yeah.
it was shocking to me that that I missed that.
Mm.
Like, and I mean, you could say it for people that get up to 800 pounds or whatever. Like, how along the way when you're 400 pounds, 500, it happens. You know, it's a long, long way off, but you can get to a spot where your motivation is just completely bottomed out, and you don't have anything pulling you back into it. And sometimes you need a little extra motivation. For me, it was that I had an umbilical hernia and I needed to have surgery. And the surgeon said, "Hey, you got to drop a whole bunch of weight. You're way too big for this. We only have success stories here. And our success stories start with you already being in shape when you come here. We cut you open, fix up your hernia, and then you tell everybody how great we are. We won't do surgery on you with you at that weight that you are." So
Wow.
that's technically how I got back into this. I didn't know how to get into shape other than bodybuilding.
Mm.
And I thought, well, geez, local around here, because he wasn't in Windsor at the time, he was down closer to Toronto, was Fouad Abiad. And I contacted him and we put together a strategy, a plan to drop all kinds of weight, just like we would for a bodybuilding show, but not to do a bodybuilding show. It was only to get me in shape for this surgery. But the closer and closer that we got to it, he kind of motivated. He's like, "Are you sure we're just doing this so that you can go under the knife and then get this eyesore fixed?" And I was like, yeah, I think that's what it is. He goes, another 10 pounds and like your stage ready, buddy.
Yeah.
So eventually he convinced me to do it. And this is where tragedy then falls in, is that I had a friend of mine that I was working with, a close friend of mine, overdose during the week that I was to compete. So keeping discipline in mind, and looking back, maybe this was the right or the wrong thing to do. I don't know. Fouad had me eating, I think it was 12 potatoes a day. We have a Wendy's restaurant here. I'd buy 2 potatoes, chicken breast, and 2 potatoes at 7 different meals, I think it is. Yeah. I still brought all those down to my friend's bedside while he was on life support, and I continued eating the way that I was supposed to eat, although I was having tears with friends and hugs and trying to keep his mother in positive spirits. And then it wasn't until the Thursday, April the 13th, when his mother had to make the decision to pull the plug, that kind of everything came crashing down. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I could keep eating these potatoes. I'm still in fantastic shape. I could do the show this weekend, but why? Yeah. Why would I even want to do this under the circumstances that we had? So decided to pull out, and took some time to grieve, but in the end took that to be motivation to say, hey, this is something. Mike was a trainer, not a bodybuilder, but somebody who was at the gym a lot and who I'd worked with for a long, long time, and who I miss like crazy, but that I get reminded of every time that I go into a competition prep. And he keeps me motivated and pushing, and it's almost like I can see him. I'm up in the Stairmaster doing my cardio, and I have a time to meet with him again, as we will when we're all gone from here.
Yeah. Well,
so
you mentioned, what did he have a dose on?
Fentanyl. So that summer. Yeah. So fentanyl, which is such a scourge right here, right? One of the doctor prescribed, but one of the fine powder opioids that they will put in cocaine to cut it, or in even marijuana here now in Canada. In that exact same summer, I had a cousin of mine who I grew up with, going to family reunions and everything. He overdosed on fentanyl, and I had a goalie for my hockey team when I was growing up. Would have been in his early, he would have been 43. Same thing. So 3 fairly close people to me in that 1 year of 2017 all overdosed on fentanyl. So something we deal with on our job, but that is very difficult when it hits close to home.
What is it about this fentanyl? How does it get the innocent? How does it get even the guilty? How does it get these people?
Oh, geez. It's so, like I said, it's a very, very addictive opioid that, when added into regular drugs, can give the person a high like they've never had before. Right. The problem is that in the amounts that can be controlled, nobody knows if they've taken too much or too.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I guess on the police side of things, any normal person who wants to stay alive wouldn't think this way. But the busiest drug dealer in any large city is the one who's just killed the last people.
Wow.
People don't avoid him because this drug could kill them. They want to go to him because that drug will be the best. And if I can survive it, it will be the best high that I ever have. Chasing the dragon, if it were heroin, trying to get to the here in Toronto, we even have people, and I'm sure it's worldwide, where they try and actually overdose so they can get to the spot where they see the light at the tunnel. And then we have a compound called Narcan, which is basically jammed into the person and is the antidote for the fentanyl and can bring them back.
Wow.
That's what they want. They want to have almost physically died and then be brought back. That's their new high. So, I mean, to say I've never taken steroids is one thing, but I've never touched drugs in any manner. And wow. I don't hold anything against anybody who does recreational drugs or anything like that, but it kind of scares me to be out of control of my surroundings.
So currently you're law enforcement, correct?
Yep.
You enjoy that?
Yep. I do. Yeah, it's a great career that I've done for just a little over 20 years. Got about another 5.5 to go. I've been in a number of different fields. Most of it being to do with gangs, though, here in Toronto, which are a commodity everywhere in the world. But we really do have a very safe city compared to others. We actually just set our 30-year record for the lowest number of homicides that we've had in Toronto in over 30 years, I think it is. So we're, fingers crossed, we're in a really, really good stretch. The city's doing fantastic. What
do you think the practice is that's keeping that low?
Right now it could be the cold, but people inside.
No, but that doesn't. Yeah.
So social media here is a huge thing that stimulates conflict.
Yeah.
That's still there, but I'm hoping that it's starting to fade a little bit. Yeah. Like anything, there's bad. In Chicago, which I compared ourselves to, Toronto and Chicago are very similar in size. There was a trend of style of rap called drill music, which is, and they may have it in Australia, I don't know, but it's rap music that's only prerogative is to incite violence against another neighborhood. Wow. So basically, warring enemies will just, like if it were the UFC, it would be the worst press conference ever, where guys are just shooting back and forth and they want to kill each other. Wow. This is what has been stimulated here, and I'm hoping is on the decline worldwide, but certainly in Canada. That would be a very, very good thing.
It's probably a bit like breakdancing, but on steroids.
Yes. Yeah, the challenge of breakdancing, wanting to one up or outdo somebody, but almost with an embarrassment to it.
Yeah. What I mean is we were still quite innocent. We were innocent in the 80s with breakdancing, innocent. Yeah. But now it's become, everything's escalated now. It's toxic. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Wow. What do you, because we're coming close to the finish, and I want to ask a few more questions.
For sure.
What's your thoughts on ICE? What you're seeing going on in America? There's a lot. I mean, this is complete foreign to me. This is like law enforcement shoot to kill. Like this is like gunslinging stuff. I'm like thinking to myself, is this going to turn into a civil war? Is it going to be guns blazing because it's either he's going to shoot me or I shoot him? I don't know. This is scary. And there's no law enforcement. There's no police. The police can't get involved. So what's your interpretation with ICE?
It's, you know what? I don't know if I know enough about it to speak really intelligently. I think it's horrible what has happened. Obviously, anybody being killed and what they have going on in Minneapolis right now is almost surreal. Yeah. But like you said, insurrection, where you're going to have different states in the U.S. where people are legally able to carry firearms, but in engaging now, as you said, is it going to turn into some sort of a civil unrest and civil war where there's going to be more of this? I certainly hope not. But yeah, it's a crazy time we're living in right now. That's for sure.
It's kind of like the Wild West in a way, but I'm finding as well, which is unfortunate, and I think your current Prime Minister, you've got a Prime Minister, is that correct? Is that what you've got, Prime Minister?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We have Prime Minister coming in here.
Like us.
Yes.
It just seems like, I think our Prime Minister at the moment is quite questionable, right? But it just, and I think your one is definitely trying to stand up for the country a bit more than what Trudeau did. But
definitely.
But I'm finding that I like Trump, but I'm not liking the way he's bullying media and creating a narrative that's saying, you guys are all stupid. You don't see what I see. How did you see an innocent person getting killed? That person wasn't innocent. But they're convincing us that that person wasn't innocent, but we're wondering, what are you looking at, Trump? Or what is your administration looking at? And it's kind of like, you can't say there's a mistake here. You can't say this is murder. You can't say we will push people out, but we won't tolerate this kind of behavior. But it's like they're saying they had it coming. They had it coming. They had it coming. But they didn't.
Yeah, that seems to be the spin that they want to put on it. And I guess an administration has to say something after an incident like that, but it seems like they're jumping the gun many, many times before that they have any sort of understanding as to what actually went on. And to some degree, like from an investigative standpoint, it starts to taint the investigation when so many people are coming in and commenting on it so early before all of the facts are known, right? And that goes for both sides. People speaking about what may have happened there ahead of knowing all of the circumstances of why somebody was there, if they were armed, if they challenged anybody with a firearm. That's why for myself, I try and kind of stay about as neutral as you can to something that you're not involved in yourself, because we have that in our own service many, many times where there's things that we see or hear about with other officers. And unless you're there, you don't really have too much input into what was right or wrong, or, as they call it, armchair quarterbacking. After the event, there's a million different things that we could have done or may have thought you want to do, but you have that chance to review it, to look it over, to think, and then sometimes in that circumstance, you have a split second to react, and you don't know what somebody's perceiving or not. But I agree with you. I think that there's some manipulation of the media going on that's consistent, I guess, but is troubling, because you don't know what to believe whatsoever anymore, and you don't know who to believe depending on what media source you're listening to.
I get the media's created this problem, but now an innocent reporter is called an idiot. He's called a bully. He's left side, whatever side. I don't know what they're saying, but something you just said. What happened to investigation? And I'm thinking, just like the current generation, they want it now. It looks like this administration is happy to solve the case in 24 hours. I mean, even Charlie Kirk, like, you'd wonder, like, how can this not be a constant investigation and look at all scenarios? Who was that guy? Who was that person? Get that cat. Like, it just seems like there's no more investigations. We got the guy. It's enough. Where you'd want them to go, we've got new evidence and we've got this happening right now, and this has come to us, and someone rang us and that person saw it. But now it's like, whatever we tell you that's it. Like, it's just weird.
That one seems very, very strange to me. Yeah, with Charlie Kirk, you don't hear very much at all about it in the news. You don't hear any updates on what the investigation is turned over, or if there's trial upcoming or anything like this. It's just kind of news feed and then swipe to the left.
Yeah, we've gone into this
the next thing.
Yeah, we've become this generation wanting it now, and they've created that in front of us. Like, oh, you want the answer now? Here it is. That's it. See you later. We're going on to the next thing.
That's right. Yeah. It's troubling. Social media has changed things so much, I think, and for the better in the way that we're able to communicate, far distances and these types of Zoom or Google Meets and everything like that. But it's also, especially without even getting into AI, I get fooled all the time with what I'm seeing
Me
there
too.
on video, and I don't know, like, what am I 5 years from now? How good is this stuff going to be? What can I believe?
I'm telling you. Look, all right. I'm going to ask you some questions. Then we're going to go over the body, meaning I'm going to go over about relationships. I want your answers. I'm asking all the guests now this year.
Yeah.
But I believe this connection we've got, me and you now online.
Yeah.
Eventually, someone will be connecting online to AI, and people are going to be falling in love with AI. So they're going to have relationships. This world.
Oh.
No, trust me.
Yeah.
It's a lonely world. There are people that have lost spouses, people that don't know how to go out and be social, people don't know how to meet. So I believe connection now has left the physical. Like, we still like the physical, but we can have long distance relationships. That I believe AI will be creating new love affairs in this world.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, maybe.
Watch this space. I know it's weird, but I understand it. That's the truth. It's not that I'm going, oh, this is ridiculous. Why I understand it is, I'll give you an example just quickly. My girlfriend's from another state. So we do a lot of Snapchat or a lot of WhatsApp. So we'll have dinner together.
Yep.
And she was just down this weekend. So yes, we get to have the physical side of going to dinner and everything else. But because she's in another state, sometimes we're just talking to each other for a fortnight or for a whole month, just online. But I've fallen in love with her. Like, yeah. So imagine if I took away she was real and just focused on the conversation and her answering me and eating dinner with me. How easy is it for you to fall in love with a character you've somehow built and is satisfying your needs? So that's why I'm telling you, it's going to create a world that, I don't know if it's take away loneliness, but we are going to be able to create our own love affairs with a character we create. And
that's really interesting.
It is interesting. It is. So,
well, for
you go on.
Older folks that are in retirement homes and things like that, do have the physical connection, but maybe they've, as you said, they lost loved ones or many people in their lives. That would be probably a venue that they would be choosing. Yeah, that would be very interesting.
I mean, if AI gets smart enough and then the phone rings and you go, oh, there's Rachel, but Rachel's an AI, and you answer and she goes, how was your day? And you go, yeah, my day was good. I went lawn bowls and I went for a little walk. And she goes, I really like the shirt you're wearing. And you go, oh, thank you so much. And I see you're wearing something different today. And then it could become a romantic, arousal, you name it. It's between you two. That's what I'm saying is watch this AI space.
I've never heard that before, but I think you've got a great point. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I know it sounded weird, but understandable. So before we go over the body, seeing the gym and bodybuilding involves the words buddy, family, relationships. Let's look at all relationships, and I want your quick answers towards this. What makes a good training buddy or a great training partner?
Loyalty. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Loyalty. What makes a good friend?
I think I might answer loyalty.
I think you will. Yeah.
Loyalty.
All right. What makes a good lover?
Definitely loyalty, because that's my
loyalty number one. Okay.
Loyalist partner over there in her bedroom now.
Okay. And how does this is off beat now? How does going to the gym, lifting weights, better or improve your life?
Oh man, countless ways. Clears my head. Invigorates me. Gets my blood flowing. Burns calories, so allows me to eat food. To greater degrees. Endorphins. In the end, just makes me feel great when I'm finished, and allows me to create art, I would say. Like, I've always looked at it being amazing. You spoke about cars earlier and adding, mufflers and shiny rims and everything like that to it. People will work and clean and wash their car 5 days a week, but they won't put a single ounce of time into their own body. And I'm a huge proponent of, this is the vessel that's going to get you through life. Do as much as you can to keep it working optimally. To, if you're going to get older, to make sure that you can squat up and down from chairs and from the washroom, get in and out of the tub, get in and out of the car, walk up a flight of stairs, all of that stuff that leads to being able to enjoy your later years and your retirement and everything like that. That's what the gym is.
You got to be able to pick up your body weight. Let me tell you, that's what's going to happen when you're older, or you won't get off the floor.
That's right.
All right. We're going to go over the body now. You're going to be a PT for the moment. We're going to do one body part. All I need is an exercise, sets and reps. That's all it is.
Sure. Yes.
If you don't train it, you don't train it. You don't care to share it, that's okay. Traps.
Okay. Traps, I don't train very often, but if I do every once in a while, because the coach did put it in there for the tie-ins of the shoulders and traps, is dumbbell shrugs, 100 pounds aside, 8 to 10 reps.
Okay.
Slow and controlled.
Slow and controlled. All right. Delts, side delts.
Yeah, side delts. I love side lateral raises with dumbbells. I trained with Big Mike Van Wyck, who's a kind of an internet guy here in Toronto or the area, and he showed me a method where the dumbbells are slightly out to the front, just follows the motion of the delt cap a little bit more, and rather than lifting them to the top, he basically is in arc. You're going out to the walls, and I found that's been a great way to keep tension on my delts, and has really improved it. A little bit lighter, probably, than I would have maybe years ago, and that's another thing about the young kids at the gym. If I've got a pair of 12 or 15 pound dumbbells doing side lateral raises and have decent sized delts after training 30 years, how is a kid that's 25 years old throwing up 40s but without any involvement of his medial delts at all? You know, it's, you would think that you would look and be like, oh, maybe I should go down a little bit in weight, but it doesn't always happen.
It's just like you said, throwing them up. That's why the guy's got you not throwing them up. He's got you pushing out. And I've incorporated that in a lot of exercises. Even so, just to say, you know, when you do flies, instead of doing short flies, I kick my arms out and I push out to get the flies to really open up. And I try to keep my arms out, so I'm really, it's just like delts. It's just extension. Sure. We're not doing enough extension. So, okay. Yep. So side delts, lighter, how many sets and reps?
Those ones would probably be about 4 sets, a little higher reps than the others, about 12 to 15. I usually keep 2.
Front delts?
Front delts, similarly, I would do dumbbells probably in the 15-20 range, and I would just do kind of the regular alternate front raises.
Okay. Rear delts?
Rear delts, I do both dumbbells as well as the machine. I kind of prefer the machine. So a rear delt machine, high reps, 15 or 20. Similar idea, keeping a nice arc where I'm almost trying to follow the pattern the entire way.
Okay. Lats, a lateral, what do you do for lats, an exercise?
So I'm a Dorian fan, so I do like the bent over barbell rows. But we have a Gravitron machine here, which kind of an assisted pull-up machine. So various handle grips, whether it's like kind of a close grip or even wider grip lat pull downs. Chin-ups if I'm light enough, but if I start getting heavy, I'm not getting much more than 5 or 6 of those ones. So hard, isn't it?
Chest,
dumbbell, incline dumbbells. In my older age, 100 pounds for 10 would probably be about a max.
Biceps,
I really like alternate dumbbell curls, just with like good pronation and supination with them. Similarly in that 10 or 12 range for 3 or 4 sets.
Okay. Tricep,
tons of different things. Close grip bench press, but also tricep, like rope push downs and that sort of stuff. I kind of mix the two of those together. The rope push downs to warm up the joints a bit, and then close grip bench for a little bit more power.
Okay. Forearms. Almost
never work them, but I find that genetically I've got decent forearms. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of deadlifting and things that required me to hang on to stuff. I would also say genetically, my father had forearms that he probably passed on to both me and my brother a little bit.
Okay. Abs?
Abs, hanging leg raises, I love.
Yeah.
And the wheel rollouts.
Okay.
Hanging leg raises probably in the about 20 range
Yeah.
with some slow control, like really instead of swinging, trying to make sure that it's the rotation of the hips upwards.
Yes. Quads.
Hack squat.
Hacks.
I like regular squats, but I'm hack squat or front squats. Probably, well, I just did them actually the other day. I got to 3 plates, but usually I'm 4.5 plates for 20.
Okay.
A little higher rep.
Wow, that's pretty heavy. That's too heavy for me. Hammies.
Hammies, I like seated leg curl and single leg curl. Currently, I don't have a gym with the single leg curl, so I turn around on the leg extension and just utilize that in the opposite motion. It's probably my most improved in my last show, but still my most lagging body part. I really got to work on hamstrings, which will come with conditioning though as well.
Okay. Glutes.
Glutes. I guess the new hip thrust machine. I'll call it new only because it's new to most gyms. But yeah, just squats as always. But I find that I do like that hip thrust machine, that it's more focused right on there. 20 reps on that for about 3 or 4 sets.
Calves.
Seated calf raise is my favorite. Don't go super heavy. I've fairly defined calves, but I have never gotten them to grow. I think they say there, Arnold would tell you that is it neck, biceps, and calves are all supposed to be about the same. And I think my calves are the ones that are lagging behind a little bit.
I'll tell you a secret. My calves have grown and they never grew. Ever grew. Yeah, no, there was never a calf there. Now I've got some calves. What I found, what I found is I did what Jay Cutler said. He trained them twice a week.
Okay.
First exercise, not last exercise, and holding them on the stretch, holding the stretch down.
All right. I've heard that a number of times. Yeah.
And the reason is when you leave calves at the end, you're already looking at the front door. So you're just going, I'll just bang them out and then we'll leave.
That's right.
So when when I walk in and it's calf day, it's the first exercise. So I
prioritize it. Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's how my calves grew, and stretching them out. So first exercise, stretched them out, and twice a week, hitting them twice a week. Okay. And it worked.
Yeah. I'll throw those in there.
Yeah. No, honestly, Jay Cutler said it and I did it. And it's a first. I've never ever had them grow. And and bodybuilders said they made them grow. And I always wonder how, but he's right. You leave them at the end, you look at the door and you go, quickly, let's just do some standing leg calf raises and quickly sit once.
At the end
and then get the hell rushing. Let's go order a protein shake at the bar and let's get the hell out of here. It's just the way it is, where you never do that with bicep. You don't treat bicep like that. You don't treat chest like that. You don't treat your quads like that. So we do treat calves. We don't give it enough respect. So that's the trick. Yeah. And
good.
I guess tibialis, which is
So I do that a little bit.
Yeah.
There's the machine that I've seen every once in a while where you can hook your toe into it and actually do some extension at the back. If I don't, and I haven't done this in a while, but if I don't, I'll actually put a plate on the front of my shoe and I'll just lift it. Yeah, that works well. That's a rarely trained one, but I find that people need to do that. When I'm doing a lot of cardio, I throw that in there because if I'm doing incline treadmill, tibialis will start to get a little bit tight, so it needs to be trained as well.
Well, I found I train the tibialis all the time, so like I said, I feel that's what helped my calves out. Well, where can everyone find you, mate? Time to promote yourself. Where they're watching this podcast, where can they find you? Besides possibly speeding and you pulling them over in the police car.
That's there you go. So on Instagram, Nomad Warrior, IFBB Pro. Yep. Nomad is my son's name Damon backwards.
Yep. All right. Yes.
So I utilize that DAMONNO DAM for Nomad, or NOMAD for Nomad. That's pretty much about the only kind of social media I don't even have Facebook or anything like that. I post mostly around my competitions, like a couple different things on there with there'll be some photos on there from the last year, and sometimes some some prep stuff. But it is funny. Sometimes it's just due to time, but also I'm not a big one to reveal progress pictures or everything like that. I know that's a
Yeah.
huge thing nowadays, and I do get it. I understand going into an Arnold Classic or something. It's nice to see what's coming. Andrew Jacked is posting up some photos that he doesn't normally do, so there's a lot of hype with that. But just whether it be time or just old habits, not wanting to reveal anything too much until you're ready to go.
Yeah.
But that's certainly where I'm at, and always open for a conversation or messages and everything like that, which is great.
Oh, man. Look, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate we started talking towards the end of last year, and obviously I had to book you
That's
in.
right, yeah.
So I wanted to say thank you, firstly, for your patience, but thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. I'd love to do it again. I'm glad to like I hear that joyous Australian accent and to hear a little bit about your time. And we'll chat soon. I'll be watching the rest of your podcasts.
Oh, thanks, mate. Hey, guys, another podcast done with another wonderful guest. They're all greats, no matter who they are. To continue what we're doing and bring in the very best, if you could subscribe, hit the notification bell, press like, it only helps us to grow this channel even further and continue watching us here on YouTube or listening to us here on Spotify.